Hi everyone, my name is Alex, and I've been meditating by using the method from this book, The Mind Illuminated, for several years now. It has helped me tremendously. So what I decided to do is to share something that I think will be useful for other meditators out there who are using the method described in that book. And namely, it's the talks by the author of that book that are available online for download. But the issue with that is that a lot of those talks, or the files that are available, are not very well organized, and I've put together a way to download them in an organized way. And so that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So we take a look over here. Here's the website on which the talks are available, tmiarchive.com. At the moment, there seems to be some issue with the website, but hopefully that's a temporary thing. For some reason, the search isn't working, and yeah, the image over here is not loading up. There's supposed to be like a background image over here. So I hope that gets fixed pretty soon, because this website is provides a wealth of resources for any meditators out there, and in particular those who are using the TMI method. So let's see. So the way that of downloading those talks that I put together is somewhat technically involved, but I will try my best to explain it in such a way that someone who does not have a lot of technical knowledge but is willing to tinker a little bit with their computer would be able to download them in this fashion. Let's take a look. So here's the my GitHub page that I put together for this particular project, and basically, so perhaps I should start by talking a little bit about why not just use the website to download everything, right? Because if you look over here, there's even a page that is called bulk download, and you can download all of the files from this page just by using, for example, a browser extension like Down Them All, for example, which can just collect all the links from the page, and you could download that in one go. And that's what I did myself in the beginning. But the problem was that all these files are not organized into what you would call folders normally, right? It's just there's been all these specific events where those recordings were recorded, and it would make a lot of sense for them to be organized into playlists. But the creator of this website explains somewhere over here that it's a project, a work in progress, and so it's understandable that not everything is organized. But so I did organize it, so I hope it will be helpful to other people. So let me just go through real quick the specific kind of issues that I found while organizing those files, and then I'll try to explain the process in the best way I can, so that it's as accessible as possible to anyone who watches this video. So over here, I have this link right over here. It says "See here for a list of features," and if you click over here, I listed over here the basic things that are the most important things that I solved by putting together this project. So the first thing is avoid downloading duplicate files. Basically, what I found is that on this bulk download page, there's I believe it was 1,593 files that were available over here, and out of them almost a half were duplicates, and not just it seems like it's the same file. It's literally the same file, and I checked it by using this fdups utility, and so they are byte by byte comparison identical files. And so I solved that problem by eliminating those from the set of the total set of recordings. So that's the first issue that is solved with this way of downloading those talks. And the second one is it preserves the original file names of the recordings as well as their TMI archive file names. So this is a little bit of like, maybe it could be seen as like a nitpicky thing, but since it's like an archive, it makes sense to approach it in such a way that it's like it preserves the most data possible. So if you just download everything from either bulk download page or from like one of these links over here, all right, sorry about that. I just realized that I had a small problem with my setup. The mouse cursor wasn't showing up over here. So I was talking about these files over here, and like, what was I saying? That like whether you download the files from the bulk download page or from one of these links, there will be a different name of the file compared to what it was called originally when I guess Culadasa made those files available. So I made it put it together in such a way that these original file names that are listed on each page for each of these files, so that those original file names are also preserved. You could say for archival purposes. Because like sometimes there's like useful information over here, even though they're named somewhat randomly, and there doesn't seem to be like any system to that. But still, like there's a year over here. It says that day 6 and so on. So like this is kind of useful to have to get an idea what the contents of the files are. It gives you some idea of that. So that's like one of the reasons to keep that information. So the next thing is exporting metadata of the original file so that you can preserve it if in case you want to modify the metadata after you download all the files. So like, yeah, I haven't done that myself yet, like changing the metadata on all the files. So like you can go like find a MP3, an MP3 tag editor program, and then you can edit metadata in all the files so that when you play it, it shows you like a nicely formatted information from when it was, what talk it is, and like what, I don't know, what session it is, like what day it is, and so on. Kind of like you have when you have like your music files organized. You can like have the artist, the album, and all that stuff. So maybe like maybe I even do it at some point myself. Like if you want to modify that information, you can, but like again, the files already have some metadata which is not organized, but there in that metadata there can be some information that is useful. So I put it together in such a way that it can be exported into like text files, and then you can still have it, and you can even reinsert it into the files if you want to at a later point. So there's that. It kind of two similar things over here, preserving the original file names and preserving original metadata. So the next thing is fixing the issue that appears if you play the files just as it is, like if you just download the file and play it, like in some audio players, you'll get a warning message that says that estimating duration from bitrate, this may be inaccurate. That is some kind of encoding issue. I'm not entirely sure what the reason for that is, but like it's kind of annoying to have that message pop up every time. And I fixed that as well without affecting the quality of the files. They are just exactly the same, but they are like just it's basically, you could say that the data from the original file has been copied to a new file exactly the same, like all the audio data, but when you do that, the issue gets fixed. So no effect on the quality of the files, it's exactly the same data. So that is another fix that I implemented. The next one is not all of the files are actually available on this bulk download page, which I found out through just like messing around with the website and looking at what I downloaded when I downloaded the bulk download. So yeah, I identified a couple of those files that were missing, and I put them into like a separate file which lists all of them, and then they can be downloaded automatically as well, so that those missing files are also there. There's not a lot of them, like I don't know, I think like 15 files or something that I found on the website, but not on the bulk download page for some reason. And so I kind of fixed that by creating this this text file. I'll talk about it later on in the video. So yeah, that gets fixed. And the last one, you can choose whether you want to download the cleaned audio or the original audio. So as you can see, the creator of this website has provided two versions of files, original audio, and it just says here all just audio, but it has been cleaned to remove the background noise and stuff like that. So you can choose which one you want out of those. I personally downloaded the originals because the background noise doesn't really bother me that much. I kind of got used to listening to those files as they are, and I'm okay with that. Although I remember when I first listened to those talks, the noise did bother me a little bit, but my brain adjusted to it, so it's not a huge issue anymore. So my choice was to download the original file, but you can choose either one, whichever one you prefer. So these are the basic issues that I fixed by implementing this project, and now I'm gonna move on to talking about how you actually do it, like basically how it works. So I said that it's a technically involved thing somewhat, and you're gonna have to run a terminal to run these scripts that I wrote. Like these green files over here are the scripts that I wrote that. Like this one, for example, downloads all of the files from the website. So, oh yeah, just one other thing. It can also download attachments to the talks. So it's like PDFs of handouts and stuff like that. Also, like in an organized fashion, puts them together nicely in a separate folder. So that's just another feature of this project. So what was I saying? Like, yeah, you're gonna have to run some scripts in the terminal. So if you've never done that before, or have a very limited experience with the terminal, then it might be a bit of a challenge to download this stuff, but it's definitely doable if you're willing to learn how to use the terminal, basically. So I'm using the terminal called iTerm2. I'm on Mac OS. On Mac OS, there's a default terminal app that's just called Terminal. If you press Command space, you'll have this search, Spotlight search open up, and you can start typing terminal and you'll get it over there. So this is the default terminal. I just use a different program for that, but that's the same. Basically, that's where you can run all of the stuff if you're new to this. if you're new to using the terminal. I'll also mention, so basically, yeah, I just thought that like I made some tutorials about how you can set up certain things on macOS on my different channel, but like I'll come back to that. So let me see. So this is how the folder with everything downloaded looks. So so basically on this GitHub page over here, you get all of the same files except for the actual audio files and the PDFs and everything. All of the content you'll be able to download yourself by running like these scripts over here. Basically the content gets put into these folders that, like, these blue items are folders, and you can like the scripts download the files into those folders automatically. All of them start with an underscore, like so all of the folders that start with an underscore contain all of the data. I guess we can take a look at how large they are. Just, I don't know, I think it's interesting to look at that. So the complete, like all the audio files are 51 gigabytes, and that's having eliminated all of the duplicates. So that might give you some idea how much space you need. And like the total size of this folder for me right now is 55 gigabytes. So that includes some extra files that I have here, but that's I'll come back to that later. So basically, so yeah, that's basically how large it is. But like, I think before I deleted all of the duplicate files, it was more like 90 gigabytes or something, approaching 100 basically. So there is a lot of space that gets saved by eliminating those duplicate files, obviously. So I just realized that I've been talking for 17 minutes now and I haven't even started explaining how to use the scripts. But perhaps just one thing before I get into that. So basically what I did is I created playlists for each of the events that took place. Like, for example, I don't know, let's just pick one. I'll just open up one of these M3U files. These are just plain text files, but they contain the list of all of the files that belong to that event. So yeah, so let's say the Jana's teaching retreat. So this is what you get inside of those files. I put some extra information over here in a specific format so that you can like sort these playlists by date. I'll show how to do that later. And also like so that you have some extra information over here. But these are the files that that are just that you download and that get put into this underscore files folder. So I can show you what you get inside of that folder once you download everything. I'll use the tree command for that. It'll just output the entire thing. It's going to be really large, but let's give it a go. So this is kind of, this might seem like a lot of technical detail, but this is actually really helpful because like everything is organized in a very systematic way over here. So that's the reason why it's kind of why I'm explaining this. So basically, when you go to this files folder, let me Let me run it a little bit differently so that we can get the entire thing. 3 underscore files, colorless R. It don't worry about what this means. This is just to display everything nicely. So so here's the files folder, and when you get into that, you just get all of these links first. So but if we scroll down, when we get this TMI archive folder, so basically what the script does, it downloads everything into this TMI archive folder. These are all of the files that you would get from the bulk download page. So this is just basically the bulk download, excluding the duplicates. Unless you choose to download the duplicates for some reason, you can do that as well by configuring the script, but it's probably not necessary since they're identical, and I'm completely sure of that. So basically within the underscore files folder, there's another folder called underscore TMI archive, and in that folder you get in the entire bulk download. So but in the folder underscore files itself, you get symbolic links to those files, but the link is named with the original file name. So you basically get both versions of the name at once. So like this file on TMI archive is named like this, and but the original name is this, and so you can open either one of them and it will play, but this one is just a link, but this one is the actual file. So this is how like symbolic links work. They are just like linked to the file, but when the program opens the link, it treats it as though it was that file that the link is referring to. So that's how that works. Besides these symbolic links in this underscore files folder, you will also get all of those extra files that were not listed on the bulk download page. Let me see if I can find one of those. I can remember part of the name. So like, for example, this file, John's Meditation and Discussion Saturday AM. It's not a symbolic link, it's just a file located into in the underscore files folder. And the reason it doesn't have this TMI archive corresponding file and it's just a file over here and it's not a symbolic link is because it's this file that wasn't listed on the bulk downloads page. So it already has the original file name. For some reason it's like that, because I think those links were not to the TMI archive.com website, but to somewhere else. So they still have the original file names, and so therefore they are put alongside all these symbolic links that are named according to what the original file name was. So you get in the underscore files folder, we get both the symbolic links to the named as the original files and those few files that were not listed on the bulk download page that are still named as the originals. So this is what you get in the underscore files folder. Let's take a look. So you also have this attachments folder. Let's take a look at that while we're at it. So over here, this is a much smaller folder, and so ignore these backslashes. This is just how the terminal, how you do stuff in the terminal, but I can change that now. It's in quotes, so probably more readable this way. So basically, in the attachments folder, you get these subfolders that are named the same as the playlist that is corresponding to that event. So like I don't need to like open it in a separate program anymore, so this is a small folder. You can see that like this join meditation retreat has a playlist as well over here. So the folder is named the same as the playlist minus the .m3u extension. So that's what you get in the attachments folder. In the original metadata folder, you get all of the original metadata that gets exported after all the files are downloaded. So in case you want to mess with the metadata on the files, all the original metadata is preserved. I'll just open it up again and show you what it looks like. It's basically, it has the exact same structure as the underscore files folder with the symlinks and everything. The only difference is that the files are called basically the full file name, including the .mp3 extension, and then .ff metadata extension for those specific files. Those are just text files. Maybe I can open one up to show you what they look like. So for example, that file that I just opened, so like here it says 01 inside blah blah blah. So this file had this metadata originally, and so you can change it, and you still have this information available for whatever reason it is needed. I'll talk about this generated audiobooks thing later. So let's take a look at what you need to run these scripts. I have a list of requirements over here. So basically, if you are on Linux, you are in luck, and you probably don't need that much as much explanation as I'm giving here, because you'll probably be familiar or more familiar with the terminal than users of the other operating systems. But if you are on a Mac, you can do everything that you can do if you were on Linux, but you'll need to install certain programs before you can do that. And I explained how to do this really well. I even have made a tutorial that shows you how to install all of those programs on my other channel that is about language learning, but that's not relevant here. I just have that tutorial that explains that. So let me see. So you will need to install all of these programs. I guess. So yeah, I said about Linux, Mac, and Windows. On Windows, unfortunately, I don't have any experience with running Windows terminal, but I am completely sure that everything I'm doing here can be done on Windows as well. So you'll just have to look up, search on Google, run bash on Windows. So bash is basically, right now I'm running terminal, and the terminal is running bash. So this is like a kind of like a programming language, you can say, which, yeah, it is a programming language, but it's kind of a language that you use to operate within the terminal. So like when you get, by default on Windows, if you open, I think it's called like cmd.exe, like the file, or not the file, but the program, and you'll get the command line, but Windows command line is different from that. So you'll need to install bash on Windows. And I've seen like tutorials online on how to do that, so you can look that up, and you'll be able to sort it out. Besides bash, you'll also need to install the rest of these things, well, at least these ones. And they are very, very common command line utilities, so you shouldn't have any issue with finding a way to install that stuff on Windows. but unfortunately I can't provide any direct guidance, but I can do that for Mac users, so that's what I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on right now. So basically, I kind of already explained it over here in this small section, what you need to do. Basically, there are two package managers that can install those programs for you. So like a package manager is basically another terminal program that can install other programs. And on Linux, that just comes on by default with the operating system. That's how you kind of install programs on Linux. You open up the terminal and you type in a command, and you get the program installed. And the same can be done on a Mac, but you have to install the package manager first. So there are two most popular package managers that you can run on a Mac. It's MacPorts and Homebrew. Homebrew is probably going to be much easier and probably faster because, well, there's technical reasons for that. No need to get into that. Basically, if you are like super new and you want like a simpler approach, I'd suggest going. Let's just go on the Homebrew website. Let's see, and it has like over here instructions on how to install it. It's just like you copy this command into the terminal and run it, and basically you get it installed. That's like the easiest thing you can do. I would also really highly recommend watching this tutorial that I made over here, but you can do it by following this link where it says I made a tutorial on my other channel. And I explain in detail how to install and use MacPorts in Homebrew, so that'll give you a better idea of how to install it if you're new to using the terminal on your Mac. So once you have that installed, you can run either this command like sudo port install, and then just a list of all of this stuff that is listed over here, and it will install it. The same with Homebrew, it's brew install and then the list of all these programs. You could also, like if this is the first time you open up a terminal, you'll probably need to install a newer version of Bash than you have on your Mac. I haven't tested the scripts that I wrote on the older version of Bash because that's just like super outdated, and the only reason that Macs still have it, and I'm not even sure if the newer Mac OS releases have it because I'm running an older one. But the point is that you might also want to, while you're at it, like since you have installed the package manager, you might as well install Bash, the latest version. And you can also, so basically, yeah, I think like, so basically, yeah, you can install the latest version of Bash, and then you'll have it, and everything should work fine. There's some stuff that you need to do after you installed. It explains this over here. It explains it over here in this paragraph. I'm not gonna explain it right here in this video because it's gonna get very long. But I already explained this, or a very similar thing. You'll get it, like how to set up your path variable. If you watch this tutorial that I already talked about, so just watch this tutorial and you'll get how to set this up. If you're really lost, just leave a comment on YouTube and I'll try to help you out, or like on wherever I post this video, just leave a comment and I'll try to explain if you have any difficulties. So yeah, this is setting up the necessary programs to run this stuff. So if everything went well and you installed all of this stuff that I just discussed, you might also want to install Git and that will allow you to download. Well, I think macOS already comes with a pre-installed version of Git, but if you install it from MacPorts or Homebrew, you'll get the latest version. So, but that's not really necessary. It's just easier because then you'll be able to download this entire repository, basically all of these files that are listed over here. You'll be able to download them very easily by running a command in the terminal, which is like mentioned here in this section, downloading this repo. You can just copy this. Let me just go ahead and do this, since I'm going to be showing you how to do this stuff. So what shall we do? Like, I'm just going to go ahead and create a completely new folder for this. Or yeah, I'm gonna. So you opened up your terminal. You can copy this command git clone and this link and paste it, and then press enter, and it will download what? Sorry about that, I just realized I have that repository set to private, so it asks me for my username. You won't get that when I publish this. Alright, so I set it to public, so now it should work. Let me clear this and run this command again. And yeah, there we go. So so you'll basically, it'll download it wherever you clone it, like whatever your current working directory is in the terminal. And you can just type cd and start typing tmi-archive bulk download and change the directory in there. So now we are in this repository. So basically this is what you'll get when you download the entire thing. So the first thing you might want to do is just download the files, right? But like there's a lot of files in that folder, about 1,000, and I'm not going to be able to download everything. With my internet connection, which isn't super fast, it took me 4 hours to download everything. It might take you less than that if you have a faster internet connection and maybe like a faster computer or whatever. But what I'm gonna do right now is just I'm gonna hack my own script a little bit to limit the number of files that it will download. So you can do this actually. You can open. So I opened the script in this Vim text editor, which I use. You can also use Nano, which comes pre-installed on a Mac. That's much easier to use. But I'm gonna use Vim. So you can edit the file in the terminal. And the reason why you might want to edit the file is because there's some options over here which you can read about. Like I wrote some comments over here explaining what it does. You can like choose, for example, to not export original metadata, or you can choose not to fix that warning message that appears that like duration might be inaccurate, or you can download all the duplicates if you want. And yeah, this is probably the most important one. If you want the cleaned audio instead of the original, you can just delete this one, and that will unset that option, and so it will mean that it'll download the cleaned audio. So that's probably the main thing. The rest of these options are probably not really gonna be very relevant. But let me go ahead and do what I wanted to do, which was to hack this script, which I'll limit. Let's download first 10 files from the bulk download, and like 3 from the other list, which is everything that wasn't found in the bulk download. So you don't need to do this, what I just did. This is just like for demonstration purposes, so we don't have to download the entire huge batch of almost 1,000 files. So let's clear this. Let's list everything again. So to run this script, what you do is you type // and then you start typing tmi archive bulk download. So yeah, like when I say start typing, you can hit tab to auto-complete, so you don't have to type in the entire thing. So then you just hit enter and you wait, and it will start downloading everything. So it says downloading bulk, and it'll start downloading the files. It'll take a minute. Probably there was no need even to select 10 files, but that's what I did. Let me see, while this is running, maybe I can quickly address something else. I wish there was an easier, like, and faster way to explain this, but I guess that's just how things go, and like these videos tend to take a little bit of time to explain. Hope you don't mind that. I think it's really worth it. Like all these talks that Culadasa made, they are extremely valuable resources, and so like if you have everything organized nicely, it really helps to just like know what to listen to, and keep track of what you have listened to and what you haven't. So I think this is really useful. So this is almost done. There's only like 3 files left. So once that is downloaded, we'll take a look at the results. So as you can see, the current state of the folder was just this. There was no like none of these underscore attachments, file, generated audiobooks, or original metadata folders that I have over here in my personal folder that I already have with everything downloaded. But right now it's downloading and it's creating those folders for you. You don't have to like do anything to do that. That happens all automatically. And basically, since all of these playlists already have the reference to the correct files in that underscore files folder, the only thing you need to do is just like to play the playlist, and it'll play the correct files from that folder. I also created this generate audiobooks script, which will allow you to copy those files into a separate folder so that you can listen to that on your like phone or something, so that you don't have to like have just a playlist, but you can have a separate folder, so you can do that as well. I'll explain how that works later. So it has finished downloading. When you run, when the download finishes, you'll get all this output that explains what it's doing. It's retrieving original file names and creates symlinks. Like that's what I explained about how like this the structure of that, how the underscore files folder is structured. It does puts all of that in place. It exports original metadata. Does that for a while. Creates symbolic links for original metadata. And basically, and then it fixes that duration information may be inaccurate warning message. That it remuxes the file, just takes the original file, puts all the data into the new file, which won't have that problem. So let's see. So we have downloaded stuff, and if I list everything again, you see that these underscore files folder and original metadata folders were created. So if I go again 3 files, that's what we got. This is probably I probably shouldn't have like explained it like using my own folder because it has like 1,000 files, but like this is much easier to see what it does. So like here you have all the symbolic links to these exact files over here in the TMI archive folder, and here's like the 1, 2, and 3 files from this other text file. That other text file, if I just open it, TMI archive bulk download other, these are all the files that were not listed on the bulk download page. So this is for some reason one of the tracks in the Jana's set was missing, but it was like available on this page. You can go to that link and see it for yourself. And like, and this talk was completely missing from the bulk download. Not sure why, but this is basically fixes it, so it downloads all of these links for you. Let's see. So I explained that. So while we're at it, let me just go ahead and show you what that warning message that like duration information may be inaccurate is all about. I'll just go ahead and hack that script once again. I'll disable, where is it, fixed duration. I'll disable this fixed duration thing, and I'll just download one file. Like from each or something like that, so that you can see what I mean by that warning message. It just like pops up when you play every file, just like it's so distracting. I don't know, like can probably be ignored, but I have been ignoring it, but like then I decided, why don't I fix it? And so I did. So I'll delete these files and original metadata folders, and I'll just run the script again so that we can see that warning message and see what gets fixed. So let's see. This stuff sounds really complicated, but like once you get used to working in the terminal, this just becomes like second nature. It's explaining it that it just kind of starts sounding complicated. But anyways, so let me just like go ahead and open this underscore files wronged file, and I'll just set some options over here. Profile listening. Don't worry about what this means. So basically, MPV is a command line media player. It can play video, audio, and display photos and everything, anything you want. But I just set it up right now in such a way that we only see the terminal output. So if I play it,
what about dealing with
you get this warning message. But like, if I go ahead and I'll just go ahead and copy this command from this window, and I'll go to my own folder and paste this over here and play it again.
What about dealing with
no warning message, right? So this is what gets fixed. I mean, like, it's distracting. So yeah, that's that. I guess this is it when it comes to downloading the files. Hopefully, yeah, you just run the script and you wait, and it should download everything for you. So the next thing I wanted to explain is attachments. That's very easy. That's just like you run ./tmi archive bulk download attachments, hit enter, and it will download everything in almost no time. It's just a few quite small files, and it's already organizes everything for you into the right, downloads them into the correct folders. Okay, so 3 attachments. There you go. We have everything downloaded. We have this attachments folder over here now that got automatically created. Okay, so yeah, this is how you download everything. I'll just go ahead and switch back to my own folder and show the rest of the functionality over here because yeah, we don't need this anymore. So let's see. The next thing that I want to explain is how to generate audiobooks. So basically, I use MPV player all the time, and I highly recommend that you also take a look at it if you don't know what it is. I actually made a tutorial, even 2 tutorials explaining how to use it, again on my language learning YouTube channel. So at the very bottom of this page, the GitHub page for this project, you'll have both of these links that will you'll find both of these tutorials by following these links. So that's that. It's a very good media player, and you can see like those tutorials will show you its benefits. So what I'm gonna go ahead and show you right now is how to play these playlists. I'll just give you an example. So normally, if you're listening on your computer, you can just go ahead and, for example, open it in MPV. So this profile listening, what it does is just it prevents the video window popping up so that we can only see the output from the terminal because there's no video. So that's the only thing it does. Let's play something like the Jonas, for example. You just enter the name of the playlist and you play it.
My topic for this weekend is something that is very dear.
And you get the entire playlist. Actually, I can show you let me set it to... Don't worry about what this means. It's just so that the video window fits in the part of the screen that I have screen capture set for. So this is this is how the video window looks, and I can show you here's the entire playlist. MPV is a great player. You can set up a lot of useful things over here, but I already explained that in those other tutorials that I mentioned. So you can set up scripts that will do various things. For example, calculate the length of the entire playlist, and it shows you exactly how long it is. So things like that. And yeah, so that's MPV, or that's how you play a playlist in MPV. But let's say you want to play this audiobook, or you want to play this talk, all the recordings from this Jonas event on your phone or on your MP3 player or on your tablet or something like that. Not on your computer, and so you won't transfer 51 gigabytes of files onto your phone because you'll probably run out of storage pretty quickly. And even if you did, yeah, I mean there are certain apps that can play these M3U playlists on your phone, but not all of them can. So it's better to just have a folder with all the files in there. So you can do that, and I have created this generate audiobooks script to do that. So let me actually just open that script for a second and remind myself of what it does, or like what options it has. So basically, yeah, what it does is it takes in any number of these playlists, so you can even like put in all of them and convert everything to audiobooks. I already have a couple over here generated. Let's take a look what I have there. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and delete these because they can be like regenerated by using this same script at any time. The intention is just to have all these playlists, and then when you need an audiobook type folder with all the files, then you can just like generate it, and then you can copy it to your phone, and then you can delete it on your computer. You don't need that anymore. So I'll delete that. And let's see, let's just generate an audiobook from this jhana's retreat, or from the playlist for that jhana's retreat. So you type // generate audiobooks, and then you pass in the name of the playlist, the jhana's, yeah, and so on. Just press enter, and it will do everything for you. It will just copy the files from the _files folder. It reads the playlists and like it copies all the files according to what it finds in the playlist. Let's see. So once you have done that, like if I list the contents of generated audiobooks, again, it creates the generated audiobooks folder for you. You don't need to create that. That is done automatically. We have like, now we have this, the jhana's, the original practice of mindfulness and insight folder in that generated audiobooks folder. And if we look into that folder, we get all these files that were listed. Let me just show the contents of that playlist. So you just went ahead and copied all these files into this folder. It also added this prefix to the name, so that basically it's sorted correctly in the correct order, so that they're not just all like in the random order. But otherwise the file name is the same. And it also copied the attachments from the _attachments folder in there into that audiobook folder as well, so that you can just like copy this jhana's, the original practice of mindfulness and insight folder onto your phone, and there you go. You'll have all the attachments over there. You can view them in your like in whatever app that can read PDF files, and yeah, you'll have all the files, all the audio files as well over there. So let me see. So this is basically how you do it. If you want to generate audiobooks from everything, just to quickly mention, in case you're new to the terminal, you do that by generate audiobooks and then enter *.m3u. It will match everything that ends with .m3u, and it'll generate audiobooks from everything. Like one other thing, if the audiobook folder is already there, it'll ask you if you want to overwrite it, and by the default is no. So if you press enter, it won't overwrite it, but if you enter Y and press enter, it will overwrite it. If you want everything to be overwritten, maybe like you have a couple of audiobooks folders in the _generated audiobooks folder, maybe you have some audiobooks in there, maybe you change something in those folders for some reason, and you don't want to like delete them manually, you can just like set this to do that automatically. The way you do it is just you go like -Y, and it will basically answer yes to this where is it? Like, yeah, to this prompt automatically. So like if I press enter now, it will just overwrite that or delete that folder and create a new one. Or like alternatively, for example, maybe you don't remember like maybe, for example, let's generate like one audiobook from, like, there was like this, what was it, light on meditation. Number one, for example, maybe I make an audiobook from that. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. I'm kind of dwelling on this, but there's no reason to like go into this amount of depth. But yeah, there's quite a bit of things that like you can do here. So let me, since I started, let me just like briefly explain what you can do with this. So yeah, you can read about all of this stuff in this document. So I'm just explaining the main points. Like, for example, I'm not going to explain how the like the playlists are structured, like what all these like lines that start with the hash symbol mean. You can read about it over here. And also about the generate audiobook script, what like it also creates the file names in a certain way. Like you can read about the format over here. So like it doesn't just add the track number, it also adds some extra information there. So if you want to know what that is, it's all explained over here. So that has finished. So now it has like light on meditation folder over here. But maybe like you want to create audiobooks from the rest of light on meditation playlists, but like now you already have this number one over there, and so like if I go light on meditation number star, so it will match everything that starts with light on meditation number, and press enter, then it'll start asking me like whether you want to or not, and I don't remember which ones are there in that folder. So you just can answer like -n, which will answer no to any prompt, so that it doesn't regenerate anything that is already generated. I'm not gonna run this because it'll take ages, but hopefully you get the point. Okay, so that's that. Let me just quickly explain a couple of more things about these other scripts that I have over here. So playlist list by date. So I said that you can sort the playlist by date earlier in this video, if you perhaps remember. So you can do that by just running /playlist list by date, and it will output, it will read all the playlists that are in this folder, and it will look at the date line that contains the date, and it will sort them by date. If it doesn't contain a date, it will show everything at the bottom of the list. But they're sorted chronologically so that you can see which talks were given earlier in time and which ones were given took place later. So this is kind of useful and like to just like know when things happened. So I'm not going to explain what these playlist extra include and only scripts do. You can read about this over here in this playlist extra section. Yeah, it'll just take too long to explain this, and I don't think it's necessary. So but they are pretty useful, so just go ahead and take a look at what they do. Playlist compare, well, that's pretty quick to explain, so I'll go ahead and just do that. So, for example, I have this playlist over here that like Tuscan Community Meditation Center, and these other playlists that has basically everything that you have in the Tuscan Community Meditation Center playlist, plus everything that you have in the Culadasa's curriculum playlist. It's just a combined playlist because like all of those talks were given at that Tuscan Community Meditation Center. But then like maybe you want to see, like you want to compare, like see which talks from one playlist also occur in the other, and this is explained over here as well. Let's go ahead and copy this command like this. I have this example command over here that like works with this particular example, and what we'll do, it will just output everything, but it will highlight the tracks that basically, if the track from the second playlist occurs also in the first one, it will get highlighted. So this is from the Culadasa's curriculum, and so that's how we can like find out if the playlist is combined like that. Then you can see what came from where. This is like the only playlist that I have over here at this moment, which is combined like that. Like the rest of them are literally like have only unique files, so there's no like duplicates. Like this is the only playlist that I figured I'd create, since these are all the talks from the same given in the same location. So I just went ahead and created that playlist. But like the rest of them are contain only don't contain any duplicate files. So let me see. I think this is pretty much it. Let me see if there is anything that I missed, or if there's anything else that is worth mentioning. So it looks like I went over the most important things that I wanted to explain kind of verbally in a video, so that it's clearer as compared to just reading this document. Hopefully it will help people. And the reason I wanted to share this is because these talks helped me tremendously, and I still listen to them regularly. I have listened to some of them multiple times. So they really help can really help someone who is following Culadasa's method, and yeah. So I hope that you found this useful, and that it helps you on your meditation journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.